Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel. And in our top stories today, one that has been discussed by other commentators and one that was curious to me in the back of my mind because I recall something very similar happening under the Trump administration when he was getting started, his transition team. So we started off from Fox News. Dem Senator's El Salvador trip might violate law liberals used as pretext for Michael Flynn's probe critics, right? The Logan Act from 1799 prohibits unauthorized foreign negotiations, which is what Hollen was engaged in. So Senator Chris Von Hollen's, Democrat of Maryland, sudden trip to El Salvador to try to free deportee Kilmar Abrego Garcia is getting the attention of critics who believe that Maryland Democrat may have violated a 1799 law prohibiting unauthorized diplomacy. The Logan Act, named for the former Pennsylvania Senator George Logan, stipulates a fine and or imprisonment for Americans corresponding with foreign officials with intent to influence their measures in relation to any disputes or controversies with the United States or to defeat the measures of the United States. And so we have the Logan Act. So Logan met with French diplomat Charles de Talleyrand after Paris rebuffed President John Adams, and he attempted to entreat him in part via a letter from Vice President Thomas Jefferson to end the Franco-American hostilities of the so-called quasi-war. So you see, they do like to reference these and suggest that these laws are old to imply that, they don't have validity. But, of course, the Constitution is much older than some of these laws. And so these are often pointed out by other commentators that, for example, Tim Pool says, well, murder has always been around too. That's an old law. And then, of course, we have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and these other documents that are much older than some of these laws. But it is fascinating to me that it's not being spoken about in many other outlets. So we have here one from The Independent. I think this is the one that Tim Pool was talking about on Friday. This is what he was discussing, and then I found this from Fox, so that was good that we had an additional reference. And then, of course, here we have the Logan Act, as I just read, is a United States federal law that makes it illegal for private citizens to engage in unauthorized diplomacy with foreign governments, especially when the U.S. is in dispute with a foreign government, as we see here. Well, the president isn't so much in dispute with the president of El Salvador, but the Democrats, of course, create any kind of a dispute that they can. And so I did a little more digging to see when all this kind of transpired, and we have over here from ChatGPT, here we have how it came up with Trump. So during the transition period after the 2016 election, before Trump was officially inaugurated, his incoming national security advisor, Michael Flynn, or General Flynn, as some of you may know, had communications with the Russian ambassador Sergey Kislyak regarding U.S. sanctions. This sparked controversy, and some Democrats argue that such actions might violate the Logan Act because Flynn wasn't yet an official representative of the U.S. government. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know here, if you give the left an inch, they'll take a mile. And if you give the GOP an inch or a mile, they'll take an inch. So it is kind of extraordinary if the Logan Act will actually be implemented or enforced at any level, considering what Hollins did. And he went out and made videos saying, here I am at the airport. I'm on my way over there to do this, that, and the other. And, this is just absurd. This has just been, I think this is a really dumb hill for the Democrats to die on because the El Salvador has made it very clear that they're not going to release this individual. Now, I know they're doing some prisoner swapping there with Colombia is what I read over the weekend, but I don't know whether or not this will have any sort of impact on with this particular situation because this individual had a deportation order. And as I understand it from many of the legalese that's going back and forth and in between the misinformation from the media is a deportation order only requires a probable cause. So the person is in our country illegally is the probable cause, and the due process is getting them out of the country. So it can always seem more complex because the media is not being directly honest with everybody. They're just not being honest about it, but that's not anything surprising to us.
Meeting face to face with a suspected MS-13 gang member in El Salvador.
Just incredible. Madeline Rivera is live in Washington with the details. Good morning, Maddie.
Good morning, guys. This was a turn of events after Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen was initially denied from entering that maximum security prison where Kilmar Abrego Garcia is being held. Van Hollen posting this photo on X saying he's spoken to Abrego Garcia's wife and will give a full update soon. El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele is mocking this meeting, saying in part Kilmar Abrego Garcia has miraculously risen from the death camps and torture. He also suggests he's...
Yeah, I wanted to point that out because that was another thing that Democrats were trying to play also. Now, it was a little more exaggerated and sensationalized than they would normally do. They tried it. It didn't seem to be grabbing people's attention, and I'm glad that Bukele mentioned it because this was something they were trying to do too. This was another bit of their exaggeration and performative nonsense.
Still not looking to release Abrego Garcia, saying he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Per the New York Post, a conservative watchdog, the American Accountability Foundation, is now demanding an ethics probe into Van Hollen's El Salvador trip. The organization's president says Senator Van Hollen decided that he would use Senate funds to fly to El Salvador and advocate for an enemy of the United States.
And he admitted that on Fox News yesterday, Sunday, as of this recording on Monday, April the 21st. He did admit that he used the funding. Now, they do have funding for these things. Of course, they have budgets and stuff that they can use it for. So I guess that's one point people can make, that he used taxpayer funds to go to El Salvador. But you would think that he would use it more wisely and maybe take care of things there in Maryland.
But Van Hollen argues the government has not backed up its claim that Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13.
But they have.
I have been fighting against MS-13.
And people have been talking about this right here. Now, when they did it on regular media, they had a real tight shot. So it didn't look, it looked like, you know, well, they always tighten the shot if there's nothing going on in the background or foreground. So I just thought it was interesting that now we're seeing that it was really nobody there.
For probably longer than Donald Trump even heard about MS-13.
The administration says an immigration judge back in 2019 found reliable testimony that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, but he wasn't deported because of safety issues. Here's President Trump talking about the case.
I have to refer again to the lawyers. I'll have to do what they asked me to do. I had heard that there were a lot of things about a certain gentleman, perhaps it was that gentleman, that would make that case be a case that's easily winnable on appeal. So we'll just have to see. I'm going to have to respond to the lawyers.
The legal back and forth means this case could ultimately land back in the hands of the Supreme Court. Lawrence, Ainsley, and Brian.
Okay.
So even if it does, then they're going to side with the president because the president is the only person genuinely that can do foreign policy. It's not up to local judges or federal judges like the meme we saw from Babylon Bee, where Trump was going to leave the presidency and become a federal judge to seek more power. It's just absurd. It's a game play. It's really sad, as we talked about when it comes to Democrats. They have no issues going after their political enemies at all. We saw that lawfare in New York as well, the prosecutorial misconduct, them having to revive all of these statutes of limitations against Donald Trump. They had to bring them up as felony charges. It's absolutely absurd. But this does not deter the Democrats in any way, shape, or form from going after their political enemies. And Hollen's, I don't know. They'll protect him as much as they can. We'll see how much they protect Letitia James there in New York as well. You know, will the establishment that directed her and the others there in New York to go after Donald Trump, will they come to the rescue or not? It's just going to be an interesting thing. But I welcome your thoughts and opinions down in the public section. Do you think that the Democrats are dying on a really bad hill on this? And I think they are. And I think I saw James Carville say that this was a distraction. And other Democrats are saying, some of them are saying it's distractions, others are not, because of course they were always pursuing Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and that sort of stuff. And now they're trying to make a big deal about an individual that the president of El Salvador says he's not going to return him. So I have to look more into this prison swap thing. But I do welcome your thoughts down in the comments section. You guys let me know what you think about all this that's going on. I think the Democrats are continuing to dig themselves in a hole. And what they say, don't interrupt your enemies when they're making a mistake. But I welcome your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section. I want to thank all of you guys across New Tech, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, and those watching on TikTok for your guys' continued support. It's always welcome. And, of course, below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to include X that I didn't bring up yet today. But nonetheless, you know that I'm pretty much on all social media, so go by there and check it out. And, of course, my affiliate marketing links are down below this video. And appearing there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube, your guys' support has been amazing because the likes, the shares, and the comments work just as well because the YouTube algorithm is very bizarre. But nonetheless, yes, appearing there on the screen, that'd be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.